Now, back here, the Transport Secretary says plans to improve transport connectivity in the north of England will completely revitalise the region for locals, creating jobs and new business opportunities. Well, the first phase involves improving connections on existing lines in the 2030s between Sheffield and Leeds, Leeds and York, and Leeds and Bradford. The second phase of the Northern Powerhouse Rail will involve a new route between Liverpool and Manchester via Manchester Airport and Warrington, utilising a combination of new and existing lines. And the third and final phase will involve better connections eastwards from Manchester to Leeds, Bradford, Sheffield and York. Well, let's go live to Leeds now. Join our political correspondent Rob Powell, who's there for us in his very dapper fluorescent jacket there. Expect nothing less, Rob, when you're inside a train factory. Interesting, all of this, isn't it? Because in many ways, we've been here many times before.
Yes, you've stolen my line actually there, Darren. That's about the first thing I was going to say. Yeah, we're at this train maintenance depot to the east of Leeds. We just had the Chancellor here, flanked by the mayors for the region across the north, all loyally standing around her. Also another cabinet minister here too, for basically the announcement of the kind of Labour version of what was first pitched, 10 or so years ago, Northern Powerhouse Rail, the east-west rail link to connect up the big cities of the north of England. First pitched by George Osborne back in 2014-15. I'd say the plan that you've just set out there that Labour wants to pursue, probably not quite as ambitious as that original vision for what this would be in terms of, you know, a new line running from Liverpool right through to Manchester, Leeds and then out towards Hull. I think you'll have less new track, more reliance on upgrades, slower speeds as well. It's probably about where Rishi Sunak ended up when he recommitted to a version of this after lopping off bits of HS2 that would have taken those high-speed trains to Manchester and to Leeds. I think what Labour would argue the difference is between this plan, Rishi Sunak's plan, though, is that they say, well, we're going to deliver this. They're trying to, they say, learn from the mistakes of HS2. They've set a cap on how much can be spent on those three phases, £45 billion in total. And I think they're keeping the timescale kind of deliberately vague, I think, to not tie themselves to any hard and fast targets. That could be the problem, though. The Chancellor today said that people won't start to feel the benefits until the early 2030s. So when I asked her a question earlier, I wanted to find out whether people should really believe the government that they can deliver this, given that, and given they've been U-turning on so much else recently.
OK.
Chancellor, I guess by their nature, these are long-term projects. But given your government keeps U-turning on short-term projects, how can anyone have any faith that you'll see through this big long-term plan?
Well, I'm not going to apologise for making long-term plans. We've already signed off a third runway at Heathrow, a second runway at Gatwick, the Oxcam corridor. We are already investing in a Transpennine route upgrade. Electrification has already happened between Stalybridge and Manchester. It's happening between Huddersfield and Leeds. So these are not hollow promises. They're things that my first budget unlocked it £120 billion of additional capital spending. Is why, as well, we're able to sign off Sizewell C and small modular reactors. We've got a plan for growth. It is the right plan. It is based on bringing investment into the UK. Yes, in this case, in terms of rail, but that rail is just the start of it. This is about attracting more investment, both domestic and global, to the north of England.
So the Chancellor, I think, accentuating the positives there. She went on to say that she thought that the digital ID U-turn had been overwritten today, that there was still going to be digital checks put in for workers, and she confirmed as well that first U-turn of the year, last week, that she was looking to bring in more support for pubs to help with business rates. Talking to Andy Burnham, the Manchester mayor, not long ago as well, very much on message, which is not something that always happens with the mayor of Greater Manchester. I asked him about all those U-turns, whether that makes his job more difficult, and he said, well, he's been in government and he's had to put a few U-turns in his time as well. So I think the government hope they've got a good news story here. Of course, the benefits, potentially the electoral benefits, are not really going to be felt until well after the next election.